Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
It's great to see you again. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So I'm here in Miami. Where are you guys at? Let's talk about this a little bit. I'm in Miami, where all the big game festivities are happening this week, and they gave me my official pin. So getting ready for the showdown. And Walter, you're going to help us talk about the analytics of this game. And we made some picks last week, right? So I'll let you run the opening of the show.
Absolutely. Welcome to the WalterFootball.com Fantasy Football Show. This is our Week 22 edition, so the Super Bowl is only days away. So it's time to talk about what we're going to do for the Super Bowl in terms of daily fantasy and also pick the game. Joined once again by Michael Hofer. Michael, how are you?
Very good, Walter. Thank you. How are you?
Doing great. Can't wait to get started on this and try to get a winning lineup together. Also joined by Kim Calhoun, live from Miami. Kim, how are you?
Hi,
and how's
Walter.
Miami?
Oh, it's hot. It's very hot. Actually. I hope you bring warm clothes. We're having a great time here. Everybody's ready for the big Super Bowl.
Yeah, I leave from Miami on Friday, and I can't wait to go to the airport in shorts and flip flops. Even though it's like 40 degrees outside here in Philly, just can't wait for the warm weather. These long northeast winters they take a beating on you.
We have better internet
this one hasn't
for
been
some reason.
Well, I don't know if you can hear. Yeah, I can hear you. You're kind of fuzzy though. Michael, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah,
and
I think
I'd like to be early. So I also am here for the Super Bowl a year ahead of time in Tampa.
Nice. You got us all beat.
Yeah. I want to continue a little bit about I just am more and more strongly convinced it's ridiculous to consider Lamar Jackson as MVP versus Pat Mahomes. I was watching one of the Fox shows, and Willie Snead was on. Willie Snead had some pretty good numbers with the New Orleans Saints with Drew Brees. I mean, he's a guy that we normally would leave on the waiver wire, but he had some really huge weeks. If you picked him up in the right week, he was a very viable player. And, after seeing what happened with Raheem Mostert, who knows how good Willie Snead really is. But the Ravens wanted him, and they paid him a 2-year, $7 million contract with a $2 million bonus to come to Baltimore. And he was on a talk show talking about how frustrated. Dude, I've never heard a receiver talk this way about his quarterback while he's still on the team. But he said, it is very frustrating waiting for the ball and knowing their game. You're just not going to get it because this is a run offense. It's a tight end-centric offense, and my quarterback just isn't ready to throw it to the wide receivers yet. Maybe next year he will be. He's getting better every year. But yeah, it's frustrating, but the Ravens want me, and I'm sure they're going to treat me well. So basically, he said the guy can't throw to wide receivers. How can that be your MVP?
Well, I would say he's the fantasy MVP, right? I mean, he was great in fantasy football.
Exactly.
He probably won championships for a lot of people. Actually, in one of my leagues, I won a championship playing against Lamar Jackson. So anyone who drafted him played well, and I think that kind of plays a factor into it because fantasy football is such a big aspect of the NFL in general. But I agree with you that I would not name Lamar Jackson MVP. I think I would say Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, but because he missed 2 games and he was hobbled for a couple of other games, plus he has a great supporting cast, I would actually give the MVP to Russell Wilson. If you look at the supporting cast, like all they have is Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf came on late in the year, but for most of the year he just it was pretty inconsistent. Their defense was not very good. They couldn't stop the pass at all, and their offensive line is horrible. And also they lost their top 2 running backs late in the year. And yet, despite all the things going against the Seahawks, Russell Wilson still took the Seahawks to the second round of the playoffs. And I think he's the MVP hands down. But that's just my opinion.
And that's a good opinion, and it's valid. I mean, that's definitely a major consideration. And just
I agree with you, Walter.
Lamar Jackson reminds me of RG3, and he could have the same end very soon.
So, can I ask a question about the football when they select that kind of player? Does it have to be somebody who's actually in the Super Bowl, or can it be somebody else that doesn't make it to the Super Bowl?
Oh no, the MVP is a regular season award, so I think they've already voted for it, if I'm not mistaken. I think they vote for it at the end of the regular season. So I'm almost positive it's going to be Lamar Jackson, but I wouldn't put it on Lamar Jackson. People will talk about how his supporting cast isn't great, the receivers, but they have Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews. It's two pretty good players.
Yeah.
But what people don't talk about is how good Baltimore's offensive line is. The Ravens, I feel like, had one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, maybe the best. And no one mentions that. I think that was a big part of Lamar Jackson's progression in the second year. And to your comparison with Robert Griffin, I think right now you could say that, but I feel like the one major difference between Griffin and Lamar Jackson is that Griffin never really put a lot of work into his film study and whatnot. He worked hard on his body to be athletic, but he never really studied film. Whereas Lamar Jackson seems eager to really learn how to be a good quarterback. So I have more faith in Lamar Jackson becoming a better passer than Griffin.
Yeah, his teammates probably like him better too.
Yeah, except for Willie Snead, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. And Hollywood Brown. I mean, maybe that's why Hollywood Brown's numbers weren't so good too, besides the injury.
Yeah, remember he had that great week 1 against Miami, and I think everyone chased that, and he never really produced like that ever again. And so, I would say the playoff loss, he actually had some good stats, but that came in garbage time. So he never really came to realize what he did in week 1. And as we found out, Miami was just absolutely dreadful. So, it's kind of like it's just a confluence of just great passing there and just terrible defense. So we have a few things to talk about this week. We'll delve into DraftKings, kind of build a lineup. We'll pick the game. And then we'll show you the fantasy cruncher aspect of it. I actually crunched 300 lineups in honor of the husband and wife from DraftKings. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you heard the news, but they finally came to a decision and they stripped them of the $1 million. So justice has prevailed.
Oh my God! I mean, that took a long time though. So they really put thought into this. This wasn't just I mean, they really thought this through, but they're setting an example, aren't they?
Yep. Yeah. They lost the $1 million. I hope they didn't spend any of it. So they lost it. I believe they also had 7th place, so they lost that as well. Everyone moved up in the contest. The person who had 2nd and won $100,000 is now a millionaire. So it feels good for him.
That wasn't you, was it, Walter?
No, it wasn't me. Unfortunately,
it wasn't me because I think Pickle was ahead of me. So.
Mike, what'd you say?
Did they get their money back? How much did they spend?
On the contest, so it's I believe if it's $20 per entry, it might have been 15. But for example, if it's $20 per entry and 150 entries, that's $3,000. But he entered in 150 twice, so he spent $6,000. I read an article about them, and he said before he won the $1 million, he was down $62,000 on the year on DraftKings.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, add 6,000 to that, so he's down 68,000. Minus whatever he spent on. So it's pretty rough, but I mean, he cheated. So I guess justice, like I said, just prevailed.
I bet he sues them.
I could see that. I imagine they may have settled beforeld.
Yeah, that would make sense because when he put $6,000 in, they'd have to at least give him his money back. I would think. Yeah, they probably will settle.
Maybe. Yeah. I imagine they settled. We'll find out if he sues them. Then obviously he didn't. But I would imagine that they settled. Maybe they got their entries back. Maybe they got their 68,000 back.
Yeah.
Wow. So it just goes to show that if don't cheat, but if you do cheat, don't name your alternate account your wife's name, who's a celebrity.
Yeah, be careful how you Twitter. So let me ask you this: Twitter gets people into trouble all the time, but it'd be kind of cool maybe one time to have somebody from DraftKings on the show to kind of explain the rules a little bit. Just even if it's a 15-minute, just chit chat about it. I mean, it's up to you. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would mind those rules. But now that they've set that example, that's a huge precedence, right? I mean,
yeah.
Like you said, I hope they didn't spend it. Oh my gosh! I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. It is a good precedent because. Others have been accused of this before. Chipotle Addict is one of the best DFS players in the world, and so is Papa Gates, and they are brothers. And it's been a long time that people have accused them of colluding. I'm not saying that they do, but that's kind of been the scuttlebutt around the DFS community. And now that people have been outed, and you kind of have to wonder what they're going to do with their friend who outed them on Twitter. So. You gotta kind of feel bad for him for being a bad friend. So
you're not trying.
True. So
dinner plans.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So do you want to get to any news before we start building our lineup?
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the news this week that has changed since last week that would change the dynamics.
So I haven't seen anything for the Super Bowl. I don't even think an injury report has been posted yet. If it has, it was within the last 30 minutes.
Said Philip Rivers is out in San Diego, and then he said he regretted making that public. So I don't know what that means.
It probably means that Rivers just lost leverage, and he's going to sign for a little bit less money than he would have. That's the only thing.
No, they said he's out in San Diego. They're not going to re-sign him.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's the Glaze. Yeah, I'm referring to Glazer kind of retracting that a little bit, but yeah, I would agree. So we talked a little bit about that last week. So we think
I got a guess for you. Come here, hold on. I got a guess from you. An NFL player, former, retired in 2017. This is Desmond Bryant from the Oakland Raiders. Say hi.
Nice. How are you?
I'm gonna hold on just a second. He can't hear you. Let me change the mic. Audio. Headset. Let's go to. Stop laughing at me, Michael. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Say hi, Desmond.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How are you?
Doing pretty well. Can't complain.
Can you see him? Okay, I'm tall. So
yeah, I remember Desmond Bryant from the Raiders and also the Browns too.
Yes, sir. That's me, bro.
So Walter Football has been doing a TV show on fantasy football for NFL for 20 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
So he knows every move you guys make. So I want to explain to him something really cool. Walter will watch your games like 5 times each.
Wow. Maybe like 2 or 3 times. not 5.
You watch the game film or you watch the TV broadcast?
I watched the TV broadcast the first time, and then I'll watch the film the second time.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So but what's cool about it is that sometimes I think he catches injuries you guys have, but nobody else does. Like he'll say, "Oh, I saw this happen," because he's so watching it so close.
Yep, I've seen that plenty of times.
Walter is like this analytic engineer brain with football. Okay. So, but we talk about the first of the show. We talk about the injuries, what we think the football players are doing, how well they're playing. So who's your pick for most valuable player of the year? Quarterback. I
mean, it's hard to argue against Lamar Jackson, what they were able to do this year, the teams that they were able to be. It's unfortunate they went out so early in the playoffs, but I mean, his body of work is just absolutely incredible this year.
So Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Jackson was outstanding this year, just what he did. But actually, I made a case for Russell Wilson because I feel like Seattle had less to work with than Lamar Jackson did. Like Baltimore's offensive line, I thought was one of the best in the NFL, and they had a great defense. Whereas Seattle, they had a poor defense for most of the year, and their offensive line has been bad for several seasons now. And what Wilson can do, like every single week, and to get his team to the second round of the playoffs, I think his supporting cast was a lot worse than Baltimore. So I actually would give it to Wilson. I think he's more valuable than Jackson. But I mean, you can't. It's hard to argue Jackson too because he was great too.
Yeah, I mean that's a very analytical way to look at it. I didn't even really consider that, but I can't argue with that either. So you have a very valid point.
Yeah.
So answer your question.
Yes,
as a former Brown, I would love your honest opinion on 2 things. What you feel about the current direction of the Browns getting all these young guys, and what do you think is the future of Baker Mayfield?
Okay. So I don't know. The Browns, obviously, they adopted this again, a very analytical approach. They brought in the guy from Moneyball. And so I don't know that that's necessarily going to translate into football. I was an unfortunate casualty
Yeah.
of types of practices. I cost approximately 10 times 10 times as much as the person they replaced me with. So I understand why it happened, but at the same time, I don't know. You're letting talent go when that's not how you build a football team. I think maybe in baseball, that's something that can persist, but in football, you have to it's a really team-oriented sport. You really have to have that kind of brotherhood, that understanding, that this is a team and like we have to have this. Baker Mayfield, on the field, I don't know. I think he's okay football player. I really don't like some of the things that he does off the field. I think that he speaks too much on things that he doesn't need to really be weighing his opinion in on. Yeah. And so I think that if he is able to really humble himself and kind of take a step back, it's like, hey, let me focus on being a football player. I don't need to be this uber celebrity and like have my opinions about everything. I think that if he does that, it'll serve him in the long run.
Hey, dude, there's a future for you in broadcasting.
I told you that's why I wanted to bring him over here. But I want to mention something about what you talked about, that you guys have to be like one on the field, as opposed to baseball. They're so individual, but you're dancing together on that field. You literally need to take dancing classes together. So that Now I'm joking, Walter, but no, seriously, you have to know how to move with each other and when the other's going to move and how. And sometimes your play might change, like whatever call was made, it might change. How do you do that?
That comes with practice and repetition. Being on the field every day with this guy. Okay, his job is to go to this particular gap, and so if I'm in this gap, that means the person behind me has to go in the other gap. Well, if I'm a guy who likes to go in the other gap all the time, the person behind me has to understand that and be able to cover for that. And if they don't have that type of synergy from being on the same team by building this cohesive unit, then you're destined to fail in the long run.
Oh, geez. I don't even think technology can help with that.
Definitely not.
Well, I'm in Tampa, and the John Gruden story got real stale here real quick. He kind of won a Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team. He had a reasonable season this year in Oakland. Do you think Gruden is going to what's your opinion of Gruden in Vegas?
I don't. The Raiders in Vegas in general, man, that's going to be tough. It's going to be fun to see how that plays out. That's the city of the temptations galore. So,
knock on wood.
Especially for young guys in the league, all of a sudden they've come into millions of dollars, and now you're in Vegas every day, and you're a king celebrity, some kind of demigod to the people that live there. It's going to be tough. But I'm surprised. I thought that there would be some of those same issues with teams moving to LA, but it doesn't seem as though that is the case. So, perhaps it'll happen, but Vegas is a whole nother animal. So we'll have to see.
Thank you.
That's pretty. That's a big change. It's hotter there too, I think. So,
Well, Tampa's kind of a party town too, and we've seen some players get in trouble there, like Michael Clayton, for example. That's kind of like I feel like that's a pretty good example, because he had that great rookie year and then he kind of fell off, and you kind of wonder what happened. And from what I heard, like, he was just a real party animal down there, so it kind of ruined his career. So yeah, it is Vegas could be tempting. You're right. So we'll see what happens. It's kind of crazy that teams are moving to Vegas.
Absolutely, it's crazy. I never thought I would see it in my time. I wish I was on the Raiders when they're moving to Vegas.
Anything can happen. They actually put a team in North Carolina. I never thought I would see the day that happened.
Absolutely,
and because we're always been the college support, right? So to have a professional football team,
you have a pro team there now? Really?
Mm-hmm. You talk about Cam every week. Come on, guys. We talk about Cam every week.
Absolutely.
And Russell Wilson went to NC State, so why is he Carolina? I don't know. But I have learned with these guys that it doesn't matter where you play college. You get picked to play at certain teams, and that's a good thing. You negotiate rates and everything. And then on fantasy football, it's not about the team, right?
Yes.
And even if you like somebody, you just don't pick them because you like them. You got to pick them because they, analytically they're going to play good. That's what's great about fantasy football.
So I got to tell you about picking teams. After the Raiders offseason rolls around, and it turns out there's 3 teams in the race that really wanted me to be on the team. It was the Seahawks, the Patriots, and the Browns.
Ooh.
And because of the 20% more financial gain, I ended up picking the Browns. In hindsight, considering both of those teams won the following 2 Super Bowls and Super Bowls afterwards, if I go back, I would probably change that decision. But at the same time, that's part of the game. It's a business.
And it's a risk.
It's a risk.
But I want to tell you what, because of what you just said, that's what startups are like.
There you go.
Everything about a startup is hindsight.
Hindsight is always 2020. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Desmond is here because they have a project, him and one of his partners that he played football with for a long time, that they've been doing, trying to invest in the ecosystem of startups, which, like some people, they always want to get that Uber or Napster, right? Most people don't know that, those were, a long time ago, so money was different. But not every investment is like that. So, but anyway, it's interesting because there's a trend where you're watching pro athletes now becoming more investors. They're realizing that they can make their money work for them in different ways.
First of all, I have to give a shout out. My business partner, Lamar Houston. If you remember me, you probably remember him on the Raiders at the same time.
He's here.
He's here. Obviously, when you first learn about venture capital, everyone wants to talk about Uber and all the other unicorns that made 1,000x on their money. But for me, so we were in the Bay when Uber was running out of a garage. We were running around the Bay, spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on to go out for the night. Little did we know there's a company, in San Francisco that would have given us a ride for, $20 across the bridge.
Right.
And so when you see things like that, you realize you miss out on opportunities like that, you want to get involved. And so Lamar and I decided, hey, one of the other problems as football players, deals are being put in your face all the time, and you never really know which one is a good one, which one's not, which one's the Uber, and which one's, I don't want to say WeWork because it's still been a huge success, but other programs, other companies like that. So what we're trying to do is create a platform where we're like bringing athletes. First of all, we're giving them deals if they want to get involved. But if you don't want to get involved with that, just give them more education about financial markets. Something that is offered in moderation by the NFL and NFLPA, but we feel as though as players, other players will be more receptive to it.
Right. So it's a big program here. And what's interesting, can I ask, did you ever play fantasy football?
A long time ago.
Okay.
When I was in college, I played. I stopped immediately once I got to the NFL, for sure.
So you're trying to say you grew up?
I grew up playing a little bit of fantasy football, for sure.
So I'm picking on you guys. This is my first time. So I'm going to be honest. I thought fantasy football was something they made up. Guys made that, and I thought that I didn't know it was gambling or anything, but I thought it was them, doing football. But telling us they're doing football, they're really watching like Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
And then I met Walter, and I found out this is a whole different game. And but anyway, but what we're talking about right now is the Super Bowl coming up.
Yes.
So who you pick?
I definitely have to go with Casey.
Oh, Casey, there you go, boys. Pat Mahomes, your favorite.
I'm still partial to the AFC, so I'm going with Kansas City. I think they have a good body work. I know San Francisco's going to be hard to beat, but my guy Kyle Juszczyk is over there, and I don't want him winning the Super Bowl since I never did. Hey, man, I'm hating big time, bro. Nah, congrats to him and all his success.
Hell of a player.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a player.
Oh, yeah.
Desmond, I wanted to. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to ask you how you thought the game flow would go, because that's kind of what we do on DraftKings, is kind of figure out just based on how the narrative of the game's going to go. That's how we kind of build our lineup. So you have the Chiefs winning. Do you think it's going to be a close game, or and if it is a close game, do you think like the Chiefs are going to have a big lead and the Niners are going to come back, or do you think the Niners are going to have a big lead? The Chiefs will come back like they've done the past 2 playoff games, or do you think it'll be like a shootout? Like, how do you think the game will go?
Yeah, and the other question involved in that is, if the Niners get a lead, is it possible to come back on the Niners?
So, I've never really considered game flow so much, but when you say that, for some reason, I want to say that it's early on. I want to say maybe the entirety of the first half. I feel like it'll be a low-scoring game, maybe a touchdown, no more than 10 points for each team.
Wow.
So into the half, it'll be either tied up or very close. But I think once they go back and teams make their adjustments, I think those Garoppolo and Mahomes are going to start letting it rip, and it's going to turn into more of a shootout. And I don't know that anybody's ever going to get really. I think it's going to be a great game. I don't think anybody's going to really get a substantial lead on the other one, and I think it's just going to be kind of again second half kind of shootout kind of game. Comes down to the last possession. Should be a good one.
I feel like Jimmy has got a lot weighing on him, a lot more to lose in his mind, and I just think the pressure's on. I actually think the pressure's on Mahomes too. I think he's just. Everybody's going to expect him. Oh, look who's here. It's Parker. Can you pull a chair up? So they're here together, just working together on investments and getting the awareness out about some of the things that they want to do. But we're going to be talking football, so this is cool.
Okay.
That's your thing.
Oh yeah, it's my bread and butter. I never get away from that. I always recognize where I came from, what got me here, to be able to. If they say, "Hey, I'm going to be an angel investor," well, that was football that put me there, and I will never forget that. Always respect it.
But the disciplines are the same. That's what I tell people. The homework you have to do, the research, it's all the same. So, talking the dynamics and the flow of the game, who do you think is going to? You were talking about it's going to be a blowout.
Or shootout, he said, right?
Shootout. It's going to be a shootout by halftime.
Yes.
You think the power in the stadium's going to go down like it did that one? It's going to be that intense, right? Are you going to be there?
I'm not going to go to the actual game. I've been to the game in the past, and I like the home experience. Like, I feel like you get to see more of what's going on. I'm sure you guys would prefer to watch from home and watch multiple games at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So these two have played together, and they're still investing together. They're working together. So this guy, don't you, Walter?
It's Lamar Houston. Is that it?
Yeah. This is Walter Football, world famous for fantasy football. He has been doing this 20 years. He's quite the fan club, about 6 million. So he moved from podcasting to Pod TV to do this kind of show with us, and broadening their horizons. This has been fun this year. So I'm not a football person; they're teaching me. But I am a business person. But this has been fun. So ask Lamar who he thinks he's going to win.
Yeah, we already talked to Desmond about it. Lamar, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl, and how do you think the game's going to go? Like the flow of the game, like the narrative of it.
I think Chiefs win the game. I think the Niners come out competitive, but they lose the game in the second quarter.
Okay, so you think it'll be kind of like the Tennessee game, sort of, where maybe they have like a 10-point lead or something, and then Patrick Mahomes goes nuts or something.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, I could. There's so many ways this game could go. I think I feel like a lot of people don't think Garoppolo will be able to throw that well because he only threw 8 times in the AFC Championship, and then against the Vikings he had a poor game. But I feel like people have forgotten how good he was against the Saints in that one game in December. So yeah. I think it could end up being a shootout as well. But I do think that the Niners could have a lead, and then the Chiefs could come back and maybe win it by double digits or even closer than that.
Yeah, I think Andy Reid's just a seasoned coach.
Yeah. Yes.
They're young, and they're new to success, but I think the Chiefs will win.
Yeah, I think Andy Reid having extra time to prepare is huge. I mean, he has a great track record of coming off buys and giving him 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I think that's a big edge. And Kyle Shanahan is, I think he's a very good coach. But he doesn't have that much experience, and Andy Reid's been here before, so I think that definitely plays a factor.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's a UT guy, so I have to have a little.
Yeah, I saw the hook'em horns there.
UT. That's right. So no, this has been fun. We're listening to these pro athletes talk about how important it is to not just play the game, but know what to do with yourself as a pro athlete after the game, right? Because there's definitely something very important afterwards. All too often, people they have all this great fame, but they didn't have any financial literacy to be able to do that. But that's not what this show is. That's another show. I get carried on. So, so Walter, can we pull up your stats and talk about? You want to share your screen?
Yep, I'll do that right now.
Well, so what's amazing to me is that the TV now has gambling shows, and they got the sharps on TV talking about the line and stuff, which is kind of cool. But an awful lot of the experts are saying if San Francisco gets a lead, their defense will present severe problems. They'll be able to tee off on Mahomes, and that Kansas City won't be able to come back like they did the last two weeks.
That's interesting.
That's where San Francisco wins, and that's running the ball with Raheem Morris and not having turnover machine Garoppolo having to do much. I think if it comes into a shootout, the Niners are sunk.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I'm going to bet against the underdog, so I make more money when they win. That's the kind of gambler I am. Isn't that what you told me, Walter? You go for the people that other people don't bet on.
You want to be contrarian in fantasy, like especially daily fantasy, because I think it really depends on the player. So, for example, Patrick Mahomes is projected to be owned in 63% of lineups in the Super Bowl because he's so expensive on DraftKings. So you can go one of two ways. You can be like, okay, I'm not going to roster Patrick Mahomes because he's the most popular player, or you can go over the field and say I'm going to roster Mahomes in every single lineup I do because I think he's going to have a great game. And I would prefer the latter in this case. It really depends on the player. But Mahomes is so good, and Michael, you were talking about how some people don't think that the Chiefs will be able to come back on the Niners. I think Mahomes can. I think Mahomes is one of the few quarterbacks in the NFL who can, because his mobility I think is a huge factor. Now he's going to get pressured because the 49ers have an elite defensive line, but Mahomes has the scrambling ability to do that, and we've seen the Niners play 3 games against experienced scrambling quarterbacks this year, not counting rookies. 2 are against Russell Wilson, and 1 is against Lamar Jackson. The Niners are 1-2 in those games, and they would have been 0-3 if Jacob Hollister wasn't tackled at the 1-inch line. So I think people are not really looking into that, and I think Mahomes' mobility is going to play a big factor in this game.
I totally agree, and either and no matter what scenario, Mahomes is going to put up numbers for fantasy.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah, exactly. No matter what scenario. So if the Chiefs get out to a big lead, it's probably Mahomes throwing touchdowns. If the Chiefs are trailing, Mahomes is going to have to throw a lot. Or if it's a shootout, obviously Mahomes is going to get a lot. The only scenario where Mahomes doesn't have a big game is if it's a low-scoring slugfest. And given the number of weapons the Chiefs have, I think that what Desmond was saying, where this could be a low-scoring game for like a half, I think that could happen. But eventually the defense is going to get tired, and then Mahomes is just going to go crazy.
Well, I've got a question. I heard Deion Sanders saying if he was scripting a game, he would double cover Travis Kelce and oh my God, Tyreek Hill, right? Don't you run out of players in that scenario? How do you double cover 2 guys?
I don't know. I mean, they play a lot of zones, so I think that might be a little problematic for the 49ers.
Yeah, I think he said a mouthful when he said that. It's like, dude, you can't cover.
So can you do us a favor, because I know these guys want to go to the party. Can you show them your fantasy cruncher? Sure. That's pretty cool. Can you show that?
Yeah,
these guys,
okay.
This is cool stuff. This is how analytics are learning about you guys when you're on the field.
All right, so So here are I entered the projections here, and I can make like this is 150 lineups that I created that can be used on DraftKings. Just using the projections I entered. It's I added 20% randomness to it. But like for example here, like this is projected to be the highest scoring lineup. George Kittle, the captain on DraftKings. When you do one game, you pick your captain.
Who's 150 different lineups for the one game, or is this all season?
Just for this one game. So actually, I did 300 lineups if we want to be accurate. So
it's $20 a piece.
That's one tool.
Listen, it sounds like a lot, but all I have to do is it says 150. Just calculate, and it'll make lineups like that. So it's not exactly hard work, but it's the projections are the hard work, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it does your picks for you.
Yeah, so it creates your lineups for you, but some of them, you have to kind of comb through them and see which ones you don't like. And I was gonna give this one as an example. This lineup right here has George Kittle as captain, then McCole Hardman, Emmanuel Sanders, Jimmy Garoppolo, Raheem Mostert, Patrick Mahomes.
Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah. I love Sanders. I just don't like this lineup because it really doesn't make much sense to me. So, so Mahomes, if Mahomes has a great game, he's probably throwing touchdowns to Kelsey or Hill, maybe even Hardman. So that makes a little sense. That's okay. What I don't like about this lineup is Garoppolo and Mostert in the same lineup. So I can't envision a scenario where both have a great game. Like it really doesn't make sense because if the Niners are ahead, they're running a lot with Mostert. If they're behind, they're throwing a lot with Garoppolo. And if Garoppolo's throwing a lot, it's probably not to Mostert. It's probably to Matt Breida or maybe even Kyle Juszczyk, your Harvard buddy there. So I don't like the Garoppolo Mostert pairing. So this is one lineup I would, if I'm going through all of these after creating 150, I would delete this lineup and try to make a new one.
That's insane.
Yeah. So the DraftKings they have a contest for the Super Bowl where it's $10 entry and it's $1 million for first place. So there's a lot of money on the line with that. So it's kind of like put a lot of time into it.
And he gives away 150 every week.
Oh, nice.
So you can play on his for free.
Very nice.
Yeah. I think Kim froze up a little bit there.
Yeah, maybe we should go ahead and talk about your scenario.
Oh, there we go.
I'm gonna get involved, man.
And I find all the free games. Walter plays the real games.
Yeah, I bet. When you have analytics like this, you have to.
Well, this analytics is access to anybody. You can access it too.
But I wouldn't have the knowledge of how to manipulate.
That's why you watch the show.
There you go. There you go.
I could never read the book on it, but I can watch Walter and Walter.
There you go. Yeah, I'm at the tune.
I could still never read that book.
I never even considered that people were out here with this level of expertise and detail too.
Walter has done this for 20 years.
Yeah. No, I know.
I think he wrote the playbook on this analytics. I really do. I read the book. So he's got a cool book. But yeah, this is pretty cool.
Well, Walter, for millions and millions of fans on the World Wide Web, do you still have the lineup we set last week?
I do. We have the lineup for last week, which was I talked about narratives, and this narrative that we built has the Chiefs getting out to a big lead and the Niners coming back. So if the Niners come back, that means one of Kittle, Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, one of those guys is going to have a big game because if the Niners have to throw the ball a lot, one of them is going to score a touchdown. So we wanted Kittle as the captain, paired him with Garoppolo and Breida, and then we ran it back with Mahomes and Kelsey, and then just a kicker to fill out the lineup. So. And so in this scenario, Mahomes has a big game in the first half or even third quarter, throwing touchdowns, maybe running in a touchdown, throwing a touchdown to Travis Kelsey, and then the Niners make a big comeback, and hopefully Garoppolo throws a couple touchdowns to Kittle and then Breida. That's our lineup for last week. So I thought we would build a new lineup this week based on the new narrative.
Right. Fascinating.
As long as you got Travis Kelsey, Mahomes, and Garoppolo on there, you're doing good.
So you think that it's going to be
we were thinking the Chiefs are going to win, and we really went with 49ers. but it makes
And we
sense.
picked a kicker too. So.
Oh, you put Robbie Gold?
Yeah, I think so. Did we pick the kicker? Did we pick the kicker, Walter?
Yeah, we picked Robbie Gold. We wanted to go with Harrison Butker, but we ran out of salary, so we had to go with.
Right. So we ran out of salary, so we had to pick.
And kicker is random anyway. It's kind of hard to predict the kicker.
$50,000 to play with.
Gotcha.
So you get $50,000 to pick your players each week, and so you got to be careful because you can overspend real quick. So a lot of times I have to go back. That's why I like Fantasy Cruncher because it already picks it for me. And
Yeah,
so
like
you can say, give me a sample.
it's very easy to say you want Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, but we put all those guys in the lineup, and suddenly we don't have any money to spend. So you have to kind of start with that.
Okay, and the only thing contrarian we really did was Breida, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty chalky lineup. I imagine that we would have the same lineup as several other people. I mean, they're going to be 297,000 people in this contest.
Right.
So to be contrarian, I would say you probably have to leave $2,000 on the table. So you have to spend $48,000 or less.
Wow, that's if you're going to win, you're going to have to spend it.
Wow.
To play.
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't even think of that. That's actually a good thing. Wow.
that's if you want a unique lineup. Now, there's a chance that the winning lineup has spent 50,000 or closer.
Dude, does that even happen where the guy won the million actually spent like 48,000?
But he does all
I don't know.
this.
Yeah, I don't know about the million, but usually a Sunday night or Monday night winner, I would say like 1 and 2, 1 and 3. They will have a lineup that spends 47,000, 46,000.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be contrarian, and that's something you could do on Fantasy Cruncher.
Lamar's got to go, guys.
Yeah,
And Higgin's probably got to go too. Are you gonna? Would you guys join me another day on this? We won't pick this up until next year.
Okay.
But we're gonna do another interview later.
Okay.
But you don't have to. We can do it just like this.
Okay.
So you can be
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is worth what we paid for it then.
If you
Yeah,
want to sit in this, he's gotta go. Yeah, they got people to visit here.
So, thanks guys for having me. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think. Hi guys. All right, so what are we gonna do for the final pick?
All right, so we were talking about how to get a unique lineup in a contest with 297,000 people. So the easiest way to do that, I think, is to limit your salary to 48,000 or less. So you can actually do that on Fantasy Cruncher. You can set a max salary. You can also set a min salary if you want. I don't really see the point in doing that, but you can set a max salary. So we can go very contrarian and have a max of 46,000. And we can see what happens. We could crunch 150 lineups.
Oh my God! Oh my God! That's brilliant.
So there we go. Our top lineup that they gave us is Mahomes, still Mahomes, but with Juszczyk, Bourne, Butker, Kittle, and
This
Kelce.
makes sense.
Yeah, so
This makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. So I don't know if how much you wanted to spend in our on our final contest here. So what narrative did you want to build around? Because last week we did the 49ers coming back. What did you want to do this time?
Well, I thought we were going to do the 49ers get the league, but dude, I want to copy down what you just put up, if you don't mind. Can we put that up
Take a
again?
picture.
Sure.
Take a picture.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
That's what I was.
That's a good idea. All right, where is it? Oh my God. Oh, new. Okay, there we go. And screenshot. Full screen. There we go. I got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Michael, if you want, I can send you the CSV of this.
Yeah. Thanks. But our viewers might be interested in this too, though. This is like something I had never thought of, and then you got a tool that does it instantly. That's like really cool. That sounds like a sponsor for our show.
It is really cool. There is a pitfall though, and then what I was talking about before, how this builds optimal lineups, but it doesn't make like logical lineups. You know, like the lineup I was talking about before, where we had Garoppolo and Mostert in the same lineup. I would not do that. So you kind of have to filter that out, or you can go to advanced options and go to groups and say, let's just name this.
If you don't think the one we just had up was logical?
What'd you say?
You don't think the one that we just had up there was logical with Uchek and Bourne?
No, that was logical. I was talking about the one that had Garoppolo and Mostert in the same lineup.
Yeah.
So you can set a group here that says Garoppolo, Mostert, and use at most one. So you can do that. So there's so many options on this. It's really amazing software.
Okay. So let me ask you a question that you don't know the answer to.
Okay.
Of all the sharps I win this thing on a pretty regular basis, like 99% of them own this tool, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All the professionals use this that I know of. I mean, I listened to some podcasts of some of the top guys, like Awesemo's the number 1 player in the world. Brick 75, he's the number 7 player in the world. They both use this. So it is the best software out there, I think.
What does it cost?
It's probably. I think it's $150 for a season, maybe.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, let me look. So I don't have a subscription for college football. So
that's cheap for a degenerate gambler, man. They'll blow more than that in a heartbeat.
Okay, so for college football, it says $30 monthly. They also, I think they have a weekly package. Yeah, it's like you can try the weekly out for like $10. See how you like it.
It justifies your addiction. You know, it gives you a reason to justify rationalizing. It's perfect.
Yeah, and they have every sport.
Do it right.
Unfortunately, you have to pay for every sport. So, like if you get an NFL subscription and you want to get NBA, you have to pay for NBA as well. So that's the one downside. I wish they allowed you to do everything because I do NFL, NBA, and MLB. But anyway, all right. Let's build our lineup and then pick the game. So you wanted to do the scenario in which the Niners are ahead, and then
that's what you said last week, and I was with you on that.
Yeah.
A teaser for this week's show. We don't want to disappoint anyone.
Okay. So my favorite captains in that scenario, obviously Raheem Mostert. If the Niners are ahead, they're running the ball a lot with Mostert.
Yeah.
You could also go Kittle. Like Kittle could get a couple touchdowns to get ahead. Sanders, I would say Deebo Samuel is another one. Or you can say that you want Mahomes because if the Chiefs are way behind, they're going to throw a lot. So
can we do this with Kim real quick? What's the problem with Raheem Mostert, Kim? Why would we maybe not want to go with Raheem Mostert? Do you remember why? It starts with an S. Shanahanigans. As soon as you go with Raheem Mostert, he's going to kill you. Guaranteed. It'll be Matt Breida. Yeah. You never know. Okay. I just had to say Shanahanigans one more time.
So I assume you don't want to go with Mostert as captain.
No, it makes sense, but there's just something that reminds me of every Shanahan coach that has killed me for many, many years.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, and I like Raheem Mostert, so let's go with him.
Okay, Raheem Mostert, and then, obviously you can pick the 49ers defense or the 49ers kicker to go along with Mostert, or someone else. Do you want to pick another Niner, or do you just want to go heavy on the Chiefs in their comeback?
Well, we kind of went all Niners with the expecting the Chiefs to win, so it probably makes sense for us to do the reverse, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I would go with Mahomes. Okay. I would have Mahomes in every lineup.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a guaranteed.
Yeah. So after that, we have Tyreek Hill, Damian Williams, Travis Kelce, even Sammy Watkins. A little overpriced in my opinion, but still could have a big game. Any thoughts on who to go with Mahomes? I would take two of these guys. Or even we can go even cheaper. We have Hardman and Robinson down here.
Yeah. I don't know why I should shut up because I got a feeling about Robinson, but it doesn't make any sense. So I think I'd rather ride with your opinion on this. If we run out of money, then Robinson might be a good guy to put in, I think.
Oh, I like the gut instinct. Let's go with Robinson.
All right.
Let's see what happens.
I just don't know why, but I just got that feeling.
Yeah, I can see that. So Hill, Williams, or Kelsey, we have money to get one of those guys.
Yeah.
Hill, okay. Okay, so we have 48.50 left to spend. We could go as kicker, and then we'll have about 5,700 left. Or we can go very cheap. We can go. We could go with. Where's Juszczyk?
Right.
Juszczyk is 1,200. We have.
Sean McCoy.
McCoy,
Sean McCoy MVP is so.
Yeah. Well, we also have. You know what? We also have Jeff Wilson Jr. If Tevin Coleman doesn't play, I think Jeff Wilson Jr. If the Niners are ahead, I think he will get some work.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Shanahan.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I'm saying if Coleman is out, only if Coleman's out.
Oh, okay. Do we have a report on that yet?
No. Well, there hasn't been a practice report yet, so.
Okay.
So let's put in for now. Let's put in Robbie Gould, and then we have 5,700 left over. So we can get Emmanuel Sanders in there, but that means we'll be spending 49,500. So if we want to get more contrarian, I would say the other kicker. That means we're spending 48,500, which is, we might have the same lineup as maybe one or two other people. I think with this.
Okay.
The
kickers will get points. They do. Almost guaranteed.
They do. Yeah, absolutely. They don't have a high ceiling, but. They will get points, and could happen. Wow. So are you okay to submit this?
I'm cool, dude.
All right, awesome. So hopefully that takes down the tournament. So
that's the one we're going to submit.
Put it back up. Oh, you got it up. Never mind.
Right there. Yeah, Mostert, Butker, Gold, Hill, Mahomes, and Robinson.
All right, and I've got it. Yay! Thank you.
Okay, let's pick the game. Michael, who do you got? It's the Chiefs are favored by 1.
They definitely got to go with the Chiefs.
Okay. What do you think the score will be?
Oh wow! Well, I haven't even thought about that, man.
Or at least the margin of victory.
So I think the margin is going to be at least 20.
At least 20, really.
I would say probably about 10 points.
I'm kidding. 10.
10 points.
I think 10 is good.
Okay. Well, Kim, who do you think's going to win then?
So I'm still going to – I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I'm going to pull for the 49ers.
Okay. I have go ahead.
And I think this spread is probably going to be – I think it's right at 10. Whoever wins, I think the spread is going to be around 10.
Okay. I have the Chiefs beating the Niners 30-27. That was
7, really?
27. That's huge.
Wow.
27. That was the final score I predicted the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl with in my season preview heading into the year. I had the Chiefs beating the Eagles in my season preview. And I had the Eagles beating the 49ers in the second round of the playoffs. So kind of like the Chiefs beating the team I expected to be there, but so I think it'll be close. I think
Carson Wentz didn't get knocked out.
Yeah, that's true. And the Eagles had so many injuries otherwise. I think that this will be a close game. I don't know how the game flow will go. I've been asking everyone, and everyone seems to have a different answer. So I guess you really don't know, and I think that's the challenge in figuring out what's going to happen on DraftKings. If you can nail down how the narrative is going to go, and if you can get contrarian a little bit, I think you have a good chance to compete for the $1 million.
So we've heard from everyone but you what the narrative is going to be. I don't think we heard the two football players, but what's yours? I'm going to hear the narrative.
Well, that's actually what I was saying. Like that's why I was asking everyone. I don't know what it's going to be. Gut instinct. I think it's going to be a little like the 49ers Saints game in December. I think that Garoppolo is going to do better than people realize. I don't think he's going to have a great game, but I think he's going to have a, 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 much better than he did against Minnesota and Green Bay. I think that's the challenge in figuring out what's going to happen on DraftKings. If you can nail down how the narrative is going to go, and if you can get contrarian a little bit, I think you have a good chance to compete for the $1 million.
So we've heard from everyone but you what the narrative is going to be. I don't think we heard the two football players, but what's yours? I'm going to hear the narrative.
But I don't think it'll be enough. I think Mahomes in the end will find a way to win. I think he's just that good. Even given how great the Niners defense is, I think Mahomes will find a way.
I like your Russell Wilson examples. That he got him twice practically, and Mahomes is every bit Russell Wilson. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Mahomes, I would say Mahomes is like a more advanced. It's like a Russell Wilson 2.0.
Yeah.
If Russell Wilson were like a robot and you like took him into the shop and like made slight upgrades, you would get Mahomes. So I think that's it. And and Lamar Jackson gave him a little bit of trouble too as a scrambler, not too much as a passer, but as a scrambler. And Mahomes is just way more advanced than Lamar Jackson as a passer. So they. Like I said, if Hollister is not tackled an inch short of the goal line, the Niners are 0-3 against these scrambling quarterbacks.
Well, this has been a fabulous, fun, instructive season for me. I don't know if we're going to come back for the draft or not, but dude, you've been a blast this year, and I learned a lot.
Oh, it's been great working with you guys. It's been a lot of fun just going over what's going to happen each week, and I'm excited. I'm excited for next year. Even after the draft, we can talk about fantasy players for 2020.
Yeah, amen.
I got one question there before you leave. In the very beginning, when I started this, it was such an education process for me, and I was just listening so hard to every word you said. I don't have my clipboard with me. I had a clipboard, and. And so I was writing all these notes down. And in the very beginning of the season, you had your favorite football team or the best football team, not your favorite, but based on your rankings, your favorite, the best football team and the worst. I mean, the worst was Miami Dolphins. And you were always leaning favorite to the Cowboys in the very beginning, kind of like, they're just reliable to always kind of pull out. How do you feel? How do you feel? Who was the better football team besides the ones who made it in fantasy world?
In fantasy, well, I mean, you can always talk about the Saints and how they like Michael Thomas every single week was just a monster, and it's not. I don't think it's as much like team as players. Like you have like Christian McCaffrey from the Panthers, you have Mahomes from the Chiefs, obviously. But we were talking about I think you're talking about stacking teams, and generally it's more of the matchup. And I'm actually going to be interviewing Carney 259, who was third in the $1 million contest in Week 13. He lost on that blocked extra point. Otherwise, he would have won $1 million. So I'm going to be interviewing him tonight.
Is he going to be crying? Did you bring him crying?
I think he's okay. It's been more than 2 months actually since then. Almost 2 months since then. What he did in that contest was he stacked the Eagles. Not that the Eagles were the best team to stack, but because they were playing the Dolphins, who were just dreadful defensively. So it's not like every single week it's going to be a different team. It has a lot to do with matchups, and also just kind of injury situations. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for answering my questions. I hope we do this again next year. We have eventually, I think we'll grow a bigger fan base. My sister had tried to dial in, but was having problems. But because she wanted to kind of say goodbye to you and thank you. She said that you were a lot of fun. She didn't expect this. She even registered for DraftKings. The sisters, you made the sisters. Thank you, Walter. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on. It was great working with you. Real quick, I wanted to mention that if you do sign on DraftKings, they actually have 3 free contests this week. So you can try 3 different lineups if you don't want to spend anything, or if you want to just spend a little bit, they have 10-cent contests. So there are a lot of options. It's funny that they have these free contests and 10-cent contests, and then they have these $10,400 monsters up here.
Yeah.
This $5,300 contest has $1 million first prize as well.
I spent like 3 hours just scanning through the whole DraftKings one Sunday. And I'm like, wow. I mean, you really have to be good to play some of these. But that's how I found the KFC. So
Yeah, it's really remarkable because this $5,300 contest, there are only going to be 400 entries. So if you enter, you automatically have a 1 in 400 chance of winning $1 million, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Then again, you have to risk $5,300, so
But you
not
have to
everyone
be
can do
willing
it.
to win, right? You
Yeah,
have to be willing to win.
yeah, you have to be good. You have to have the money to risk it. It's tough, but
Are you ever going to do that, Walter?
I have entered in I've entered in contests that are like $888 entries.
Okay.
That I've never entered 5,300, but yeah, I recently did an 888 NBA contest.
Yeah, and like you said, you have to be good. I mean, I'm still haven't ranked above pickle much, so
I think with our instruction, you'll beat him every single week next year.
Hey, we're gonna get in shape this year. I'm gonna see
no mercy, like the Cobra Kai's say.
and I'm gonna see you Saturday, right?
Yep, Saturday. Yep, absolutely.
All right. So you can sign off, and I'll play
Okay.
our outro.
Okay, yeah, thanks guys, Michael and Kim, for a great year. Thanks for those watching us. Hopefully we were able to help you a little bit on fantasy football and DraftKings, and have fun watching the Super Bowl, and we'll see you next year.
Fantastic.
Hey guys.
And you know what, guys? Thank you very much.